just like,
They're playing to a market, and the market is the Asian market. And that's it. Let's get cut.
They have been playing.
They've
been playing to that Asian market.
Hold on. Your
They're
version
scared of that
Shang-Chi,
market.
They've been playing to that Asian market since Iron Man.
Back on.
Your version.
They're scared of that market. They scared of that market.
It's not going to be there. Just like Mulan, the Mulan movie is changed. There's no the Disney version of it is not going to be what they're going to show.
And it's not going to make the money that they should. So
No,
that's number
because
one.
no,
Number two.
What I'm saying is they're going to follow what the market over there is. Why Mulan is what we're going to see now.
They have been catering to the
Mulan.
Asian market since Iron Man. Okay, this isn't going to be any different. However,
It's not going to work.
hey,
If there's no powers.
No, they've been
it's not
catering
gonna
to them
work.
by taking out the Asian characters, saying we don't want to offend them. Now they're saying this is going to be a big chance because we're going 98% because they knew that now they know that they had to put them in there and they're worried.
If Mulan doesn't hit, I guarantee you there's going to be they're going to have questions about that whole movie.
What do you say they're going to take this out? They're going to say we got to restructure it.
look, Mulan's not going to hit, but it's not going to hit. It's going to hit.
It may hit in Asia, but it may not hit in the U.S. because the first people are going to say, "Where's the dragon?
Well,
Where's the music?"
but not this movie.
But this movie, this is what I'm trying to say. This movie, they're going to be aiming it more towards the China market, and we're going to see anything that we think that's offensive, anything that you think, oh, this is what they should have. They're going to say, we're not doing the White Tiger Gang. It's going to be the
The Black Elephant Gang.
No, not elephant. They'll probably call it the City Boys or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? Or Ip Man and the Crew.
Come on, man, you're hurting me.
Ip Man and the Crew.
I'm just saying you have to. I think we're going to be.
That's saying you're talking about this. What I was talking about the studio notes. Whenever they come in and they say this is going to be that, and they're like, can you give us a different name for this?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, that's all I'm trying to say. I think you guys keep talking about the comic book, the source material, but I think what we're going to hit up is going to be something different. I don't know. We'll see. The commercial will be coming out. The trailer will be coming out next year.
Hope for the best because I've been wanting this to happen for a long time. Back when the audience got it wrong and they were like, how can you make Iron Fist a white guy? How could you do this?
We wanted to see Power
Because he is white.
And what happens?
I'm saying that
That was a
the
disappointment.
audience were idiots because they didn't even know the comic book. They just jumped up and decided to flip out on it. So they didn't even know what they were talking about. They just said, "Oh, white guy, karate don't work." That's what it was.
Yeah, their own racist selves over there. But that's what happens when you woke.
Welcome everybody back to the Spirit Rack. Today I'm talking with my boys, PD and Cal. You know, when I sit in the usual spot, so sometimes we gotta figure out where exactly they are. But today we're talking about Shang-Chi. Look at that, it's looking hot. And the director is basically telling us the Mandarin ain't the Mandarin anymore. Not the one that we saw in Iron Man. You know? So, we have had this discussion before, gentlemen.
We
that
did.
They totally destroyed the Mandarin in Iron Man. And what are your hopes for him in the movie here in Shang-Chi? I'm going to pass this off to our boy, Cal.
I really hope.
I agree with you. So, Petey, what are you saying?
That's the old school spinner rack thing.
Got something brand new for you. Anyway, no, I hope he's the Mandarin from the comics. That's all I hope. I just hope he's the Mandarin from the comics.
Describe the Mandarin from the comics. He's like one of the most powerful
Forget
magic
this is
wielders.
the Mandarin from the comics is this guy who he's a megalomaniac, you know, incredible delusions of grandeur. He wants to be the emperor of the world. Okay, he's a traditional villain at the end of the day. He believes, okay, that I should have complete control and I have the power in order to execute this. I've got the 10 rings. Nobody can stop me, and because of this power, everybody should be underfoot unless you want to actually work for me. So he's a standard traditional villain. I really don't want to see any of the stuff where they try to make him relatable, or they try to, this is the reason why he's like this. They try to get some explanation, or some dumb ancient Chinese history thing about, I'm going after this because of the colonialists. No, the Mandarin, is just a villain. He gets power, and once he has power, he wants more, and he believes that everybody should be underneath his heel because he has the power. He's just a bad guy, and he's a perfectly good one at the end of the day. What made him for Iron Man, what made him an excellent villain is because those rings pretty much countered just about anything Iron Man could do in that suit. There was this one of the early appearances. He had Iron Man onto the run where Iron Man had to run and hide. Okay, he threw acid and he looked like a big pillar, and Iron Man was literally clinging behind the pillar, hiding from it. He's like, "Where did he go? Where did that guy go?" And Iron Man's like, "I hope he doesn't catch me," because he had to recalibrate to say, "How do I take on this guy?" And one of the reasons why he was his top villain is because anytime he went against him, he had to have all of his wits and every single one of those gadgets in the armor to make certain that he could contend with him. Now, that was with Iron Man. I'm not sure how it's going to translate to Shang-Chi, who is definitely much lower down the power scale. But what's the problem? Why did we get the Mandarin? Because we can't do Fu Manchu. So we couldn't do Fu Manchu, so we had to do the Mandarin. Same problem they had with Remo Williams in The Destroyer, where they were like, we want to put the guy who trains them in here, but we don't want to offend Asian people. So you know what we're gonna do? We'll get a white guy and we'll dress him up like an Asian, and there we go. Like, yeah, that won't offend anybody. Wrong. So now we got the Mandarin as opposed to Fu Manchu. We'll see how it goes. The only other thing I can think of, if they do it, it'll be dumb, because they'll have him with the 10 rings, and Shang-Chi somehow is gonna, do some key, and then next thing you know, he's like Goku from, Dragon Balls or something, some nonsense of that nature. But that's what I would like to see from the Mandarin. Question asked and answered.
I didn't like to answer, but that's okay. Go on, Petey.
I mean, that's the biggest problem is that, yes, as Cal already said it, there's not much I can say to go above, anything different, because Shang-Chi is a ground level character. The Mandarin is a heavyweight villain. Iron Man is right under where, say, Thor, Hulk, maybe somewhere right a little bit under the Thing. He's right under. That's Iron Man's top villain, and that's where Iron Man's at. So you can't escape that the Mandarin has all this power. So then how do you have Shang-Chi fight the Mandarin? And the second thing is, this is like some recession. What ideas do we have laying around? Oh, we got the Mandarin, the 10 rings, remember? And now you look at it and you feel, oh, this is a segue that's going through. And we did that backup thing on the DVD where we cleared it up. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You guys chickened out. Mm-hmm. You chickened out on many a film and gave us, was Hogan as an Asian character? But every other powerful character that was Asian in the comic book, you guys, you know what? We said, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do Ho Yinzhen as an Asian character. We're not going to do, no, come on. Why you go to the Hulk? He's going to the Amadeus Cho. He's going to Amadeus Cho. Come on. So then you have
why is that a come on?
And even, that's the thing. You have Gilbert Gottfried and Whoopi Goldberg laughing at your Doctor Strange movie, saying, why did you switch to Ancient One when you got an Asian guy standing next to the Ancient One? So why didn't you just put that guy in that part? So they're saying this, and that's the classic issue.
I guess that's what you were talking about. We got to have 50%. Since 50% of the women.
No.
All right. Let me finish.
Keep writing.
So now Marvel Studios is saying this is going to be 98% Asian.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys were chicken, so we can't give you any credit. If this thing is a huge success, you remember that Shang-Chi was one of the first things announced. Same with the Black Panther and with the Avengers. These are the early thing, and they pushed these so far back on the burner. Like, what do we got left? We did the Avengers.
The deal was, they were like, look, we got to see if things work out with Black Panther, because if we can't sell these guys, there's no way we're going to be able to sell this film.
The thing is, it doesn't, the sales on Black Panther, on Captain Marvel, these things through the roof. So it's like they already had the backing saying they know what to do. So they could have taken chances early, but they didn't. So now I can't give you any credit. And now you just forced the Mandarin in here. Then ultimately, I don't even know if you should even have the Mandarin here, as he may be a looming figure for some later movie saying, hey, we're going back to the 10 rings. We're going to do what we initially planned. We're not going to do what Shane Black did, was just dumb it down into some guy at a light table.
He had his marching orders. He was like, hey, we don't want to leave that name out there for somebody else to pick up and use in another film.
That's another thing.
So we got to use the Mandarin right over here. We got to do that. But the whole idea of the 10 rings, especially if you know the backstory where they were like, okay, and they chickened out. Yes. And then Ancient One, they really,
Alright, look, this is
they
not-
really chicken. That's to the point where, hey, we were lucky we got Wong. Okay, we were really lucky we got him because
Yes.
for all we know,
Yeah.
Wong could have been like a Black Butler at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He could have been Benson.
Oh God.
They could have been like, hey, Robert Guillaume, you still around? We got a role for you.
I kind of totally disagree. So look, I
You just say totally disagree and then go to a different point.
look. The point that I'm trying to make here is that the Mandarin. When I've always remembered the Mandarin from the comics, has always been the whole thing with magic and science between him and Iron Man. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's that clash. Who would win,
Yeah.
basically? And so I thought that was always a great villain for Iron Man because here you have to be more than just your Iron Man. You have to be something in order to overcome the magic, right?
Yeah.
Arrow
Yeah.
from CW. Something else. Something more.
You agreeing with me?
No.
Well, we know.
You're not agreeing with me?
Of course I am.
Keep going. You're agreeing with exactly what we said, so keep going.
So my fear was that putting him here, like you said, has never been on the same level as thing. But
Another point.
I think
2
they've
points
changed
already.
it. I think they've said they're going to make him more powerful in the movie.
Who? Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, yeah. I don't think Shang-Chi.
What, are you going to make him Iron Fist?
I don't know if he's going to get a ring. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think they're going to do something.
No. See, that's a problem because the whole aspect of Shang-Chi didn't need those powers because Shang-Chi is the master of Kung Fu. That's all he needs. He doesn't need anything else. He doesn't need any special weapons. He didn't need a gun. There was this, oh man, I remember the Deadly Hangs magazine, the black and white, where he took this dude out. What did he do? He was literally, the guy had a gun on him, and he was like hands up, and he was barefoot too, and they were on the beach, and he was like, of course, doing the villain talk. I bet you never do it. What you gonna do with your chop sake gung fu magic? And while he's doing that, Shang-Chi is putting on just like a pebble right by his big toe. He flicks the pebble into the guy's eyes. Bam, 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 done. Why? He's the master of Kung Fu. Okay, his body is the weapon. That's all that he needs. Not even like Iron Fist.
But here's the problem with that. It's like if you take a boxing analogy, right? He may be the master at 110 pounds, but when you're fighting
No. This is a no.
if you're
No.
fighting
It's
a
like
heavyweight,
it's comic books.
it's not going to.
It's comic books. It doesn't work that
hold on,
way.
yes, it does. I'm saying, but if
It
he's-
works. He's
but
a
if he's
mythical
fighting,
character.
But if he's fighting a heavyweight, which is 200 and something odd pounds, it's not going to work. And this is where the Mandarin is definitely a higher level than what he is. So they have to power him
Okay,
up.
I'll give you a better analogy.
He can't.
Your boxing analogy is going to fail with this because that's just not going to happen. I'll give you a better analogy. This is, okay, the barbarian versus the wizard. That's the best analogy I can give you.
You
It's the
shake
guy
your
with
head,
the-
hasn't finished what he's saying. How
it's
you
the
shaking
guy
your
with-
head?
I
How
agree
you
with
shaking your
the
head?
barbarian with the
No.
wizard.
But you know,
I
wait,
can-
no,
No,
this is-
I compared. I was
every
okay with
Conan
that.
story that you've ever. This is every Conan story that you've ever seen. Okay, Conan comes in. All he's got 3 feet of steel. Okay,
Yes.
his strength, his wit,
and bare chest.
the wizard. Okay, the wizard is able to summon demons. The wizard is able to, cut
Right.
this stuff, and Conan is still able to bypass all of that because of his physical ability. Okay, because of his strength. Okay, as a fighter, so it's like fighter versus the magic user at the end of the day. So if you can do that. Okay, you could still do that where he comes with everything. And usually where the magic user messes up is that they're always trying to get the fighter while they're from a distance. They're always trying to get, and the guy gets closer, and then finally he gets close enough, and that's it. He ends it. With Conan, one of the great one he had was like the wizard, was coming after him, and Conan realized he's not stupid. He's like, I can't, go with this guy toe to toe, so he's hiding. And the next thing he's like, oh, I got him. So he goes after him, and it turns out it was a mirror. And he was trying to, jump into Conan's body, so he ends up jumping into the mirror. Who, of course, comes from out of the shadows with that, that nice smile, that Sumerian smirk on his face? Conan. Of course, the wizard's like, no, it can't be. I'm so much more powerful. Conan takes the sword, shut up! Smashes the whole thing. So you can still do that story, okay? But it's a heavier lift. And I'll be honest, I don't know if we have to watch it and see. We're going to have to watch it and see at the end of the day. But it's not an impossible story.
But
Don't give Shang...
We're encouraging them.
Well, just don't give Shang-Chi, we should not see Shang-Chi, meditating. Don't give him some stuff like David Carradine from Kung Fu where he's levitating off the ground and such. No, he's the master of external Kung Fu, okay? He is the best, hands down, best martial artist that you're going to come across who does not have superpowers. So if he fights Captain America, yeah, he's not going to be able to take out Cap. If he fights Black Panther, no, he's not going to be able to take. But if you're just a regular Joe like him, unless you've got some training or something to give you a little bit of an edge, it's Shang-Chi's world all day.
For the Asian market, there's no way they're not going to make him as powerful as some of these others. They're going to up his power level.
To who? To whose level?
Feel like Captain America fighting Ultron?
Captain America,
Come
possibly
on.
at the very super soldier level.
And see, if you do that, then if you do that, And it's unfortunate if they don't understand that. Shang-Chi doesn't need that. His prowess with Kung Fu is such that it almost looks like he's superhuman.
Yes.
He's just that good of a fighter. It's like, literally, I mean, to be honest,
But
it's
to be
Bruce Lee.
expected. But right now, it's expected. All the powers, they've upped the power for Captain Marvel. They've upped the power for Black Panther. They've upped the power. This is what they do with these characters.
Well, no,
And you
No,
know,
Black Panther,
he
Captain
has
America
a Black
are pretty much in where they should be at the end of the day. Captain Marvel, okay, that's a
Okay,
that's a
then-
story better not even talk talk about that. But with Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi is like Bruce Lee or Muhammad Ali, where these guys are literally, you look at them in terms of, they're like preternatural in comparison to the regular guy, with the speed, the strength, the ability, and the flat out genius. Okay, not just I've studied martial arts for 20 years, that this person has a genius when it comes to their own body, how to use it, a precision that would almost make it look like it's superhuman at the end of the day. Okay, their effectiveness, okay, with the art, with their own body, okay, and their mind, literally, it's like a total merging, body, mind, spirit. That's what makes these guys so good in terms of this particular thing. Where Tony Stark could make.
I don't have a problem with him being powered.
All right, let's. I think
Yeah,
you have to look at the comic book, which was very much a cult sort of
Hold on a
classic.
second. But you're right. I just wanted to be sure. I wanted to point this out. You're right, and you can continue with your point. But the key thing is here: the comic book started when?
When in the
In the
70s,
70s. And how many people read the comic?
a lot of people. It
It's
wasn't
not in
Marvel.
millions.
The
But
thing
the
is,
TV, but they're moving on to movies, and there's millions. So
I'm
continue with
no.
the comic book.
Wait.
the comic
Let me
book
just
ran
finish.
for
Let me
ten-
finish.
let me
Let me finish.
Comic ran for 10 years.
I'm saying the comic book is a cult classic, and it has a lot of classic villains.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to say that the Mandarin is powering all these people, and some point he comes up later in some other Marvel movie,
I like
then
that idea.
yes.
I like that idea.
Uh,
What's such a grudging slap?
What are we doing? We don't high five. High five. We pound it out like brothers.
Guess not, huh? Done sold your soul to Disney.
Oh gosh. Well, I just think they had so many classic characters. You had the classic run by Doug Moench and Paul Glassie, and the fact that they were taking what Jim Steranko was doing, and then they were upping it because the storytelling of Paul Glassie was so much. It was even stronger. It was like sticking, like cleaning up the storytelling that Steranko was doing, and we just had so much more of it. So almost like maybe like say like 30 to 40 issues of that work together. And then it still lasted a little long, but he was always remembered. A lot of Hollywood people still like him. So the aspect of, they had, I think, Razor Fist. You had a bunch of characters that you could use. And then you could just up those sort of characters and sort of had that sort of feel and get those locales. Because it was sort of, they were saying that they were trying to continue the legend of Bruce Lee in the comic books. And that's what you want on a superhero level. But then go into the Mandarin, he's got to be at the backdrop. He's got to be the wizard behind the curtain. That's
He's the villain at the top of the pagoda. He's the guy that you're fighting, to get to, and then you're gonna have to. Well, I don't know. I really don't, because it's either one or two things I've seen in those situations. You get to him. Either the guy says, you know what, that was pretty good, or they say like in the old Kung Fu movies, you're not bad, but we're not fighting today. Until next time, and then that'll be it. You haven't earned any chance to fight me. Or he fights him and he gets rid of him so quickly, you're like, well, damn, the other guys underneath were tougher than the guy, the guy at the top. So it does become a little bit dodgy at the end of the day. But Razor Fist would be a good choice of villain. I think, who's the other guy? Tiger Man might also be a good choice of villain. And then you got the other peripheral characters. I don't know if they're going to use Blackjack Tar. They should use Blackjack Tar. Okay, I don't know if they use Blackjack Tar, Leiko Wu, if those guys will be brought into it. But those will be people that we should expect to see.
And you could also steal from, roughly you can steal from Iron Fist since they already ran that. They're not going to do that again.
Oh God, they ran
so,
that
but they
into
have
the
so many in the comic characters in the comic books that you could probably try to steal if you wanted to. So, but don't listen to Marvel fans that really don't read about the Mandarin and only say, you know what, we need Psylocke in this movie. And as much as I like Psylocke and even like the actress Olivia Munn who played Psylocke, I don't want Psylocke in with the Mandarin. That's an X-Men character. There's already too many of them to do a new thing. Don't start bringing in all these new
all those
characters.
guys got their run. All those guys got their run already. So I mean, characters like Daredevil, Luke Cage, anybody who was on Netflix, Those guys are on a moratorium for at least 3 to 5 years before we see
I think
them
they
again.
said the moratorium ends for Daredevil next year.
No, I'm not talking about. I am not talking about them seeing them on Netflix. I'm talking about Marvel using those guys.
Yeah.
They want enough time to pass where people, okay, they're forgotten about them. They may warm up to somebody new. Because what they did with Iron Fist, to be honest, that was a travesty. And again, they dropped the ball.
Shouldn't have said it.
They dropped the ball for the
Should've
same.
said it.
They dropped the ball for the same reasons that we didn't get to see Professor Jensen, that we didn't get to
Okay.
see the Ancient One. Why? Because we can't show this white blue-eyed guy doing gung fu. That's terrible. That's what is it? That's cultural appropriation. I'm like, okay, really?
I think was doing it better, but I just want to get back to the point that you were making.
What's that?
You were saying that that there was more to the character in terms of the characters that surround him. You said it also too. But I mean, are there any other was Psylocke? How much of an influence is she's not in the
She's in the
Shang-Chi.
X-Men story, which they did Acts of Vengeance. They had the villains swap, the hero swap villains. So the Mandarin had somehow, well, it's too ridiculous to explain, but Siege Perilous kind of drops Psylocke in the Mandarin's lap, and they change her from a British character to an Asian character.
A hot Asian ninja.
Well, she
Right,
was
but I'm saying
already
that-
a blind hottie, and then they made her a hot Asian ninja. They made her into Elektra.
they made it
But
twice
she-
as hot.
but they didn't have Shang-Chi in there, did they?
No, but they
No.
had the Mandarin. The point of it is that the Mandarin, and fans are like, yeah, the Mandarin, and then his operative will be the Lady Mandarin. And it's like, no, that's
God,
so
no.
Chris Claremont.
You
No.
don't want to think about you don't want to think about the Mandarin bringing. Think about Shang-Chi.
Yes.
I mean, they did so. I mean, to be honest, aside of his first series, which is the strongest work, everything else really pales in comparison. He does some team ups with the Marvel Knights like Daredevil, Black Widow, Punisher, but most of these guys don't really have a strong handle for him. They've done some other limited series with him. Nothing strong. And I mean, I
So when
dabbled
was
to see that. So, but if they draw on those original stories from that first series, you can't go wrong.
So when was the last time they showed up in the comics? Any of you guys know? PD, Cal?
They've shown up in the X-Men. He's
In
had
the
his own
event, I'm
mini.
saying late in the
In
last
Avengers?
5-10 years.
No, he's shown up in the last year or so. You'll see him in
so
event. But you'll see him in team up stories. Like he'll join the Avengers for what reason? You know, the Marvel Knights along those lines. But he hasn't had his own series. I think he had a one shot. He had a one shot, and I remember picking it up for the cover
year?
art.
Last year?
I don't recall if it was last year or not, but he had a one shot, and I picked it up for the cover art. But you know, he hasn't held his own title since that run, and for obvious reasons, he hasn't been able to hold it.
Okay, so last question.
No,
Who do you
well,
think-
why did you bring that question? Why did you ask that question? What were you leading to?
About what?
When we last saw him.
Just wanted to see has Marvel been building up the particular character.
Okay.
It's the same way DC has been pushing all the Harley Quinn, which of course Harley Quinn is hot right now.
Well,
but
they're
they've
killing
been,
it.
But they're pushing Harley Quinn comics that would tie into the movie. It seems.
No, unfortunately, with Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi,
you would think they would have a Shang-Chi. You would think they would have a Shang-Chi series out
Right.
in similar fashion what they did with Black Panther. You know, a good jump start
yeah.
before the
Yeah.
movie, and you know, to get things going. I remember that was shocking because Black Panther was the #1 book. That was like really shocking.
It came
So
out.
the whole bunch of copies. Again, go to that early series. The Zek issues, or you know, the art is amazing. It still holds up after all this time. You want to go for those, and man, because he wasn't just this martial. He's a martial artist. He realizes his father's this evil guy. He ends up, he's doing the whole, kung fu Kwai Chang Kang thing where he's just bouncing around, getting in from adventure to adventure. Then he actually joins Interpol and he's trying to take down his father. So he does have like a spy aspect to him as well. So you could definitely do that. But that's his strongest run. Everything else after that, I think at one point they gave him superpowers, and I was just like, God, that's almost as bad as him. They had a story where he taught Spider-Man, gung fu, and of course Peter Parker turned it into Spider Fu. So that's some good comic-y stuff. That's some good, okay.
And it's a year. It took him like a year, and it's just like next, Peter Parker is now like one of the master. It's like, oh gosh.
No, that was ridiculous.
So what
at the end.
about-
But it's fun comic book stuff. But I wouldn't put that in a movie.
But didn't you just
I would only say I wish they wouldn't have used the Mandarin, but they have the name and they have something that's been set up since Iron Man. But they used the character called Master Khan, who's also in a lot of low-level Marvel books, which was in Power Man and Iron Fist. And it's a character who's a shapeshifter, and you could develop him as being the Fu Manchu, all those aspects, because you're just going to use that same stuff with the Mandarin and just have Master Khan in there. So you have a supernatural power sort of thing, but not the Mandarin who has these rings that, like black light, that freezing, like he has, like, to really mess you up. I want to molecularly hold you into one place and then shatter you. I'm going to shatter you after I hit you.
And the rings, the power on the rings, the last time I checked, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time I checked, the power on the rings is unlimited. He could just keep it going.
Yeah.
He just keep it going.
The thing is, they had, I think when he had the big Dragon Saga story where it was like they were where the rings came from. There was an aspect of him utilizing it, but then he was holding his own with all these dragons, and it's like, wow, this is finally a Mandarin story that's really cool. So that's one of the things you have to remember. You have someone that's going to be a heavyweight as far as, even when the costume didn't match how cool he was a worthy adversary of Iron Man. So,
but you're saying Shang-Chi was on the Avengers. How does he hold his?
Oh God!
He's fine. Daredevil's been on the Avengers, and Daredevil does have superpowers, even in terms of his senses. But again, that's what I was saying earlier.
He's a master karate artist. He
wasn't. Daredevil was a boxer, and then
not anymore. Not since Frank Miller.
He's a master.
No need to even to get into that.
But that was Frank Miller was the first to say, all right, his training is this, and then it became cliche after him. So to siphon that, force that in.
But again, like I said earlier, Shang-Chi's ability, he's the master of all Chinese martial arts at this point. Okay, so his mastery allows him to go into situations without powers and to still be able to come out, for the most part, unscathed because of his ability. Now, you can't have Shang-Chi, okay, it's time to go stop Galactus. And he's like, okay. No, Shang-Chi sits, he doesn't go with that one. But then neither does Spider-Man, neither does Daredevil, a whole bunch of other guys stay home too. But he can go on the Avengers without any problem.
But then I'm just going to say I think Cal, you might have ruined the whole thing. If he's a master of all martial arts, right?
He can do
and then it being like, if you have him pit fight or like mixed MMA, you got so many cool things we could see him doing in different areas and different locales, and adding a heavy street thing where you can get the supernatural thing, and you can get the basic open where you get a cool thing where he's in a ring fighting like 4 or 5 people and winning. But then what is Marvel going to do? I don't know. Is he going to have him walking down the street like Iron Fist, doing some boring stuff to lead up to it instead of starting just action, action, action? This is what we need. We need action. We just need a lot of cool things.
So to summarize,
they started off with him opening up a door, and he comes in and he walks into a dojo. And there's a whole bunch of like Japanese guys around, and he's got this sign, and he says, "So we're sick men, huh?" Throws that sign over, beats the crap out of everybody in there, says, "That's for you, Bruce," and then walks out.
All right, so basically to summarize,
now of course we can't do that, but hey, I'd like to see it.
To summarize,
we're not going to summarize yet. It just opens up. It just opens up so much cool stuff you can do. If you look at, I would say IP, but Ip Man.
You want to start it like Rambo 3, where you start off with the fight?
No, I'm just saying, not even that was my first angle, but then I'm thinking about Ip Man, that you got to top Ip Man, because it's like, basically, it's a simple story, but it's got we got him fighting Tyson, you got Bruce coming up in the next one. You got to step your game up. Just like with what's the name? Just like with the Black Widow, y'all came late to the party. Now y'all even later with Shang-Chi, you're going to have to step it up. You have to give me something.
Powers. That's why he should
What powers?
Like,
You saying he got super strength so he can fight the Hulk?
I'm
So
saying
he
because
can
he's so in depth with his powers and his key. His kung fu is going to be just off the track.
I had
That's Iron Fist. Iron Fist is the guy with the key. Okay, Shang-Chi. There's the internal and the external. Shang-Chi, external. Iron Fist, internal. And I'm not saying that Shang-Chi doesn't have internal components, but for the most part, he's the external exponent. Iron Fist would be the internal exponent. Okay,
who's the better fighter, Shang-Chi or Iron Fist? Who would win in a fight without powers?
On that, no, don't answer that. Don't answer that.
So the answer is Shang-Chi, and so Shang-Chi would have had the Iron Fist if he was there in Shangri-La.
Okay, this is
Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna add a
some
tip.
fanboy, testy scratching over here, and I'm not gonna help you with it. Okay, I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not gonna help you.
It's tough because you had so many cool characters. Like, I didn't know my footnote was gonna be that Iron Fist there's cool characters, but there's just so much you could do it with one character. So you had the Sons of the Tigers, became the White Tiger. You got the Master of Kung Fu. You got Iron Fist. And ultimately, I don't want to combine all of them into one. I like them. And I was about to go to the movie, the Hollywood thing, and let's try to combine them. Give that, no. Ultimately, they should stay separate. But sorry to say, they might have to steal some Iron Fist villains or power up Iron Fist.
There was a rumor that Iron Fist was actually going to be in the film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, because one of the comics I had started selling.
Oh man, and they could build up his supporting cast. And then you could have even like a
proper Daniel Rand with
they're
not ashamed of him.
Oh my God, you can have a Bruce Lee and what's his
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris sort of thing, because at some points Byrne was giving him the hair like him. And I was just like, oh man, he's got a Chuck Norris vibe because he's like a man with.
So long as he doesn't have to go out like Chuck Norris did in that film.
Okay. But that's the thing. It's not without losing. That was a side bit. The fact that how many movies Chuck did after that and becoming like a myth now as far as commercials. So Chuck Norris.
But Chuck Norris did who was the other guy? Joe Louis at the time. And Joe Louis, because Bruce Lee wanted to come in, and he was like, okay, Bruce was trying to sell him on the role. He was like, you just want to beat up a big white guy. That's pretty much what you want to do. I'm not coming into film to do that. So Chuck Norris, he's like, yeah, I'll come in and do the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And again, it plays. I mean, look, in the first film, Bruce Lee's over in
Italy?
This is the big boss, and he's in Thailand. No, in the first film, he's in Thailand. He's beating all these guys up over here, but. Each of these films is about what? The Chinese guy is the underdog, okay? Mm-hmm. He's the downtrodden. So in Thailand, you got Chinese people who are going there to work, and they're being abused. Mm-hmm. But he comes over here, pretty much kills everybody. Second film is the Japanese, kills everybody. Third film, okay, who is it? These European dudes over here have been giving us a hard time. And not only that, it's going to be me, all 5'7", 5'8" me, against 6 foot 200 and some odd pounds of this dude over here, and I'm beating him and so on. And it played well for the movies. By the time you get to Enter the Dragon, don't need any of that. You don't really need any of that stuff anymore. But that little bit of history was fun. I don't necessarily want to see that replicated on screen now because again, it's that same weighty agenda that you bring it to, and then you're telling certain people, hey, you guys, you don't need to come and see this film at the end of the day, and you want to make it cool. In the comics, Daniel Rand and Shang-Chi. Good friends. There's no reason that you can't have.
I was just saying, I agree. I'm just saying, just have them mix it up and then move on. Don't even get into like have the big the sparring.
And they're all born out of that same. Mm-hmm. They're all born out of that same idea. Martial arts were really hot.
Yes,
you had Shang-Chi, who was the Bruce. This was the Bruce Lee analog. Okay. Iron Fist was the guy who went to mystical Shaolin and came back. Then the Sons of the Tiger, those were the urban guys, the guys who went to the neighborhood dojo and became so good. Okay, and then Hector Ayala, who was the White Tiger, that was the guy who just, he's like, hey, what's this? Oh, I got the super gung fu powers at the end of the day. So they're all born out of that. I think there was a treasury-sized magazine for Shang-Chi that I still have, and all those guys are in it. You have Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, the Sons of the Tiger, the White Tiger. They're all in it. So it's just a really nice sandbox to play in. Just be cool with it.
I'm saying that's
cool. But the only problem I have here is that do you think there's some people they see kung fu and they just their eyes glaze. They see westerns, their eyes glaze. They see sci-fi films, space opera, they glaze. And you think people are going to say, oh, well, of course, you're putting them in that. They're Asian, so of course they're going to be doing...
Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, they're Asian, you're putting them in a gung fu film. And then when it's an Asian character, oh, we're going to take that character out because we don't want to offend anyone. How many Asian films are gung fu films at this point? Okay, that's a viable, vibrant market since and originally those films were for housewives. Okay, those were matinee...
The Wushu films? The ones out of Hong Kong? The ones by the Shaw Brothers?
Originally, those early films, because if you look at them, they almost look like because they were borrowing a lot of the stuff from Japanese filmmaking. So you look at the set design and the storylines. A lot of them were but those were for housewives. Those were matinee films. Like they were that was something they would do in the afternoons. A lot of them had a more romantic aspect of it. The guys got into it later. Okay, That's when you start seeing one-armed swordsmen. And the Venom mob and so on and so forth. But everything comes from out of there. But that market has never slowed down. Okay, we don't see all of the films. Okay, but that market is never slowed down, and you can't have this nonsense where we can't do it. Okay, even though it's proven to have an audience, it's proven to work. It's not offensive in any slight, or this audience, of course, would be like, "What the hell is this?" We don't want to see ourselves putting down
but
ourselves.
you have two
So
aspects.
no,
that
I
is
will,
right there.
before you jump to that, don't just hold on that. I just want to say there's also Mortal Kombat that's coming out again too. You had other movies that different movements that are already happened as far as different karate or that sort of they're carrying the torch. So and they're looking at it like trying to catch up to where Marvel is. So it's like if they don't step their game up instead of just doing a movie to say, well, we're going to fill this hole right now.
Yeah.
They have a character. The only problem that I'm struggling with is now that we're talking about it, there is a sandbox, and I also throw in the Daughters of Dragon again to say if we were actually to be the producers and say, all right, we want a Shang-Chi script, but we also want to do like a Marvel Studios family thing of all the Asian characters, and let's see if we can build this up. And can you do it? But have two of those and see how it would work. But then
All the Asian characters or all the Gung Fu characters?
Gung Fu, yeah, all the Gung Fu characters, yeah.
All the Kung Fu characters.
I'm saying go through those
But it would
books
be-
to
it would
pick
be-
out all of the
I get
cool
you, but then it
Master
would be-
Kong. There's like there's this characters.
But
There's a
the
tiger
question-
character
I get-
that
but I'm
you
saying,
could.
does anybody want to see a character that doesn't have power? That's
I'm
all
saying
saying.
you can go through it
Yes.
and add the characters who have power.
Name one Marvel movie
We all-
there's a
No.
character.
Your question was, does anybody want to see a film about a character that doesn't have
They
powers?
want
And the
to
answer
see
is yes.
superheroes, and superheroes have powers.
And Shang-Chi's power, is that he is the master of Gung Fu. How many times do I have to keep saying this?
And they got and the Gung Fu will mean he can stop bullets coming and hitting him.
He doesn't have
can
to stop
super
bullets.
strength,
Oh
and he can
my
have bullets.
gosh!
This is like Last Dragon. He didn't have superpowers, okay? What did he finally have? He had confidence in himself, and he caught the bullet with his teeth. That's all you need.
Bruce Leroy, please, okay?
No, the Bruce
He
Leroy
should be in
works
the
on. Well, Bruce
And
Leroy
then when
works
Daniel's
on.
son, it'd be the big old
That was a
party.
myth part. That's the myth part of the character. The glow, that's the myth that
Actually-
pulls the whole movie together.
And
Yes.
they took
Yes.
that from the Shaw Brothers films. I don't know. There was a Shaw Brothers film
Yes.
with Lo Lei, and he had like this power in his hands, and they were like, okay, and then they transferred it over. But the whole thing of the idea of the glow was not a superpower.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
the glow was about the body was in such harmony. Okay, this guy was at such excellence with himself that it was glowing, but it was precision.
Yeah.
And he's like a good master. Somebody would just maybe get his hands to fill with it. But the guy who has finally realized his full potential, he gets the glow. But it was not a superpower.
All right, let's summarize this and call this for a day because. So
Yeah, because you can't get what you want.
Are we going to go there? So, and I'll be as summarizing as I can summarize. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up for Spinner Rack. Want to say once again we're in agreement that
That they had a hand-me-down plot that they threw into this movie.
Just wrap it up.
Spinner Rack.